Right, today we're doing something brave, noble, heroic even. I'm debunking flat Earth without any science. Not a single equation, not even a casual reference to gravity. Because sometimes you don't need labs or satellites or PhDs to see that flat Earth makes about as much sense as a chocolate teapot. All you need is common sense. Not the flat Earth version of common sense, the version you use every day not to walk into doors. Let's go through 5 things that anyone can understand, no science needed, that completely destroy the flat Earth. Hello all and welcome along to another video with me, Simultaneous. Thanks very much for joining me. Right then, on with today's video, which as I said in the intro is 5 things that debunks flat Earth using common sense only and no science. Which brings me to point number 1. Sunsets behave like we live on a curved surface, not a flat one. Now on a flat surface, distant objects get smaller and they don't sink below a line. Let's start with sunset, shall we? Every single day you can watch the sun rise and set if you wanted to. It's familiar and predictable and we don't really think about it because it's just normal. But let's think about it for one moment. When the sun sets, it doesn't drift off into the distance. It doesn't slowly fade into a dot. It doesn't slide sideways. It drops below the horizon. And the horizon is straight. Usually no hills or mountains in the way, just a clean straight line that the sun disappears behind. Now ask yourself, what kind of surface allows an object to disappear downwards behind a straight line? If you've ever watched cars drive away on a long road, or watched ships sail off into the distance, you know how things behave as they get further away from you. They get smaller and they get harder to see, but they always stay above the surface until something blocks them. Nothing sinks under the surface of a perfectly flat table. Nothing goes below the edge of a flat football pitch. Nothing drops behind a line unless that line represents a curve or hill. And here's the thing, everyone on Earth sees the sun drop behind that sort of line. Not fade into a dot, not become transparent, but drop below that line. Now that is everyday logic. If the sun were always above a flat plane, you would always see it somewhere. At night it would hang dimly on the horizon like a faraway lamp. But it doesn't. It's entirely out of view. Hope you like that one for a starter. Let's move on to point number 2. Different hemispheres see the sky from different angles. Orientation only changes when observers stand on a curved surface. This one is incredibly simple once you picture it. People around the world see the moon and constellations at different orientations. For example, people in the UK see the moon's lit side one way. In Australia, that same moon looks different, rotated. It's not subtle, it's not a tiny difference. It's a clear rotation of the exact same object. So here's a common sense exercise. Hold the book up so someone across from you can see it. You're both looking at the same book but from opposite directions. So the cover appears rotated to one of you. That's it. Nothing scientific about it. Just your viewing angle changes depending on where you stand. Now picture the Earth. If it truly was flat, then everyone would be standing on the same side of it, wouldn't they? Everyone would be facing the sky in the same orientation. So everyone would see the moon in the same way. But they don't, and this is exactly what you'd expect if they were standing on a curved surface, facing different directions. Now flat Earth simply can't explain this without inventing some sort of complex sky mechanisms. But everyday experience explains it beautifully. Right then, let's move on to point number 3. Day and night happening at the same time makes flat Earth impossible. A light above a flat surface is visible everywhere on that surface. This is another common sense observation and related slightly to point 1. Half the world is in daylight, half the world is in darkness at the same moment. It's one of the simplest realities that we experience. You can call someone from another country while you're getting ready for bed and they're just starting their day. And here's the common sense test. If the Earth were flat and the sun were rotating above it, everyone should be able to see it. Now it might not be directly overhead. It might be dimmer at the edges, but it should be visible somewhere in the sky. Think about shining a torch above a table. No matter where you stand, you can still see that torch. Even if you're not being illuminated by it, you'd still see it. The pool of light on the table might be limited, but the light source itself is always visible. But of course, that's not what we experience with the sun, is it? At night, the sun isn't partially visible. It's not faint. It's completely gone. You can stand outside, look in every direction, and you won't see the sun anywhere. Now, this only makes sense, as I said in point 1, if something is physically blocking it. Something big, something curved, something that you're turning away from. And that matches something we see every single day. We don't need scientific language to explain it either. On a flat Earth, the sun would never vanish. On a curved Earth, it must. Right, I hope you're enjoying this list. Let's move on now to point number 4. Straight line travel loops back, which cannot happen on a flat surface. Only curved surfaces allow you to set off in one direction and end up back at your start point. Let's talk about something millions of people have done: circumnavigation. You get on a plane and you fly east. You keep flying east, and after many, many hours, you end up exactly where you started, without turning around. Of course, what you've done is follow a great circle route here. Now, that's normal for us, but think about what that means from an everyday simple perspective. Walk in a straight line across a football pitch. Walk in a straight line across a field. Walk in a straight line across a shopping centre. You don't magically loop back to where you began, do you? You move away, further and further. That's how flat surfaces work. The only time that straight line motion loops you around is if the surface beneath you curves back on itself, just like walking around a circular track. That is all that circumnavigation is: a very large curved surface that naturally loops your straight path. Now, Flat Earth does try and solve this problem by stretching maps into shapes that don't match real world routes, or distances, or travel times. But you don't need numbers to see the problem here. You can't return to your starting point on a flat surface without turning. You've seen this in everyday life since childhood. Straight paths move away, curved surfaces return. No science needed at all there. Which brings us nicely onto our final point, point number 5. A model should match what we see, the flat Earth one does not. A reliable model gives consistent answers. And Flat Earth has genuinely dozens of versions. The final point, and I can't stress this enough, is about consistency. A worldview needs to explain what we see that works every time. It doesn't have to be complicated, just consistent. With Flat Earth, there's no single model. Some say there's a dome, some say there isn't. Some say the sun is small and local, or a reflection, or even a projection. Some say stars are physical, some say they're just lights in the sky. Ask 10 flat earthers to draw a world map and you'll get 10 different drawings, all incompatible with each other. But they all run into the same issue. None of these models match what we see every day. They can't explain why the sun disappears behind the horizon, why different people in different hemispheres see the sky differently, why day and night happen simultaneously, why flight paths loop around, why distances between continents don't stretch out endlessly. A model shouldn't need to change depending on the question. And that is always what the Flat Earth model does. It should be simple and reflect what we actually see. The globe model does that. It fits perfectly. Not because it's complicated, because it matches everyday experience. And for me, that is the single biggest point in refuting Flat Earth using common sense. So there we go, that's 5 pieces of common sense that shows the Earth cannot be flat. No science in sight there. All you need is things you already know from the living world. Sunsets, the night sky, day and night, travel paths, and basic consistency. Every part of everyday life lines up with the Earth being curved. And that's it, everyone. I'm going to wrap this one up for another video. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought and if you enjoyed it, and if you know any other common sense arguments to refute Flat Earth. Thanks so much for watching. As ever, it's appreciated. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the thumbs up button too. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the return of True Earth 911, who's made a couple of shorts and they're very wrong. It's quite good. See you then.